Tomi Lahren will sometimes surprise you in a good way. And I'm not a fan of Tomi Lahren at all, not one bit. As you probably know, she's a pundit for Fox News, and I frankly don't care for her because she's very highly partisan, very preachy, very condescending, and just to me, she lacks substance. She's an airhead. I'm just giving you my take on Tomi Lahren. I really don't like her, and so that but the thing about it is, we're talking about people from Fox News. There's hardly anything to like from Fox News, but every once in a while, she will surprise you for the better and sound kind of reasonable. And I'm saying this as somebody who's critical of her. Like, for example, when Jeff Sessions became the Attorney General during the Trump administration, the first Attorney General, the that was a senatorial seat that was vacated in Alabama, where they needed a special election to fill in a seat that was, whereby Jeff Sessions parted ways to become the Attorney General. And so there was a primary that was in Alabama at the time. And Donald Trump endorsed a still relatively far right conservative, but still within the perimeters of being in the same universe instead of being the radical nut job that became the Republican nominee in that special election in 2017. I'm talking about former state Supreme Court Judge Roy Moore of Alabama. Um, with that specialized election, Doug Jones, who's a pretty much a corporate, bland, shitty Democrat, thankfully he did defeat Roy Moore, and that seat. Alabama's a very red state, and under a normal right wing candidate, um, it would have remained red. But because Roy Moore was exceptionally right wing, so right wing that even Mitch McConnell, Mitch McConnell, or Mitch McConnell, our asshole, that guy, he wasn't particularly thrilled about the prospects of working with Roy Moore. And same thing, it seems to be the same chilling reaction from Ted Cruz. So when you're too fucking far gone for Ted Cruz and too fucking far gone for Mitch McConnell, you fucked up. And Roy Moore was an exceptionally shitty candidate in all fronts. Well, he was defeated, and I remember listening to Tomi Lahren doing a commentary on Fox News, and in that commentary, she pretty much state the obvious, basically, what I said, but from her perspective, in a very partisan Republican way, but it was still reasonable. And she said basically that Luther Strange was, from her standpoint, the candidate to choose, and not Roy Moore, because Roy Moore was such a dingbat candidate. And those are not her words, my words. But the point I'm trying to make is that she knows that you can just carry this crap so far to the right. And so I was just like, okay, I don't like her, but that was actually pretty damn reasonable what she just said there. Well, enter Caitlyn Jenner. You know Caitlyn Jenner. She was originally Bruce Jenner. Worth over $100 million, and as Bruce Jenner, winning the decathlon Olympics 1976. And associated with the TV show, The Kardashians, a reality show, which there seems to be too many of these days on TV. Well, as you all know, that in 2015, Bruce Jenner decided to do the transition to become a woman. And so Bruce Jenner became Caitlyn Jenner. And politically speaking, Bruce Jenner, and now as Caitlyn Jenner, this person was always a lifelong Republican and a relatively conservative one at that. Um, with the California um, recall taking place for the governor, Gavin Newsom, who's, in my opinion, a generic shitty corporate Democrat, has been recalled, and now there's going to be an election, special election for governor in that state. Caitlyn Jenner wants to run as the Republican candidate for governor. Well, the thing about Caitlyn Jenner running, and this is my take on it. I don't give a shit one way or the other if Caitlyn Jenner is transgender or not. That doesn't bother me. What bothers me about Caitlyn Jenner would be some of her political positions, and just the basic things that I kind of stay away from Republicans about. Issues like tax policies that generally favors the wealthy. When I hear a candidate talking about wanting to run your administration like a business, I get a little squeamish about that. And I know there is a gimmick and a talking point that kind of sells to the Republican base, and even some in the Democratic base like that kind of talk. I don't, because when I hear running like a business, I hear other things like yeah, spending cuts, austerity measures, means testings, that sort of thing. And frankly, I just think we just have too much of that on a local, municipal level, county level, state levels in all 50 states, and on the national level. So, for me personally, when it comes to policy, generically speaking, across the board, if I was a registered voter in California, I would never vote for Caitlyn Jenner in a million years. Um, Spoiler alert: I would also never vote for Gavin Newsom in a million years. Sometimes the Democrat and the Republicans that's available on the ballot are legitimately equally horrible. I bet that it may be horrible in different ways, but horrible just the same. So, I mean, if I lived in California, it would be a toss up between the California Peace and Freedom Party if they're on the ballot, depending on who the candidate is, because you never know what you're going to get with the Peace and Freedom Party of California. Or if the candidate's too much of a flake in the Peace and Freedom Party, if the libertarian, even though I abhor libertarian economics, if they're talking about legalizing marijuana fully, and they're talking about abolishing the death penalty, and they're talking about criminal justice reform and overtly getting rid of the death penalty, I think the death penalty is still in the law books in California, that sort of thing. Um, while I have many, many, many policy differences with the libertarians, especially in relation to economics, I would, I would, could find myself, maybe voting for that candidate. More than likely, if I lived in California as a registered voter, probably the most likely vote would be to vote for the Green Party. I would vote for the Green Party, more than likely. Um, that would be me. I'm not trying to make it about me. I'm just giving you my insight. If I were a resident of California and a registered voter in the state of California. Um, on from July 9th to the 11th, CPAC had their yearly conference. The Conservative Political Action Conference is referred to as CPAC, and it's the who's who of all that is conservatives out there meeting, and it's just you get you get your garden variety of pessimist from the Republican Party. You get your establishment Republicans who are neocon, bloodthirsty warmongers that love to torture brown people in Guantanamo Bay and think that we don't drone enough in the Middle East. That's that crowd. And then you got people, you got the religious fanatics who goes around and think that we're not religious enough in the United States. And then you got people who are just like absolute hardcore radical crony capitalists that would bottle up oxygen and sell it if they could. That type. So there's nothing appealing about the Conservative Political Action Conference. Um, Caitlyn Jenner went to speak at that conference this year, and she went there to talk about policy and that sort of thing. And she got harassed, and there were people screaming in the audience, "Bruce, Bruce, Bruce," and she was being insulted, and people making transphobic comments about her and everything. Tomi Lahren was really pissed off about this, and she came to her defense, and she pretty much denounced most of the people from the Conservative Political Action Conference for this. Now, in a way, it was the right thing to do, but I would say that Tomi Lahren did the right thing for the wrong reason. And let me explain what I mean by that. Tomi Lahren did the right thing in the sense that think I don't know her personally, but I think that she is fairly socially moderate. I don't think she gives a damn about abortion or gay marriage or these culture war issues. I don't think she gives a damn about that. And I think that she supports Caitlyn Jenner based on policy. And it's a policy that's too right wing for me, but you know, she shows signs of maturity for looking past Caitlyn Jenner's status as a transgender woman. And so, in that regard, I will commend Tomi Lahren. And believe me, it's not very often you'll hear me say anything positive about this woman. Um, and the thing about it is, if you know, if you're concerned about policy and you're not giving a damn about identity, and here's the thing, identity politics exists on the right too. I mean, you think about it. I mean, not everybody who voted for Trump is guilty of this, but a large portion of the Donald Trump base, um, while they are correct to feel forgotten as far as being outsourced and cheated out of a job, and your upper Midwest factory job is gone, and and you have economic uncertainties and things like that. Um, that's to be something to look at and needs to be corrected. And I can understand why these people in 2016 felt ignored and voted for a nutcase like Donald Trump. Still think it was wrong to vote for Donald Trump. They were like, these are people that some of these people would have been voting for a Democrat regardless. And Donald Trump just happened to come with some different rhetoric from your business as usual Republicans. But once he was elected, he ended up governing like what a Mitt Romney presidency would have looked like, which is not good from my perspective. So, the thing about it is that when it comes to policy and you're voting for policy, that's fine. You're voting for your identity, especially if you're a MAGA, voting because you think that you being a white Christian straight person makes you vilified by society. Well, I don't like to use the term white privilege around. um, you know there's still enough quote unquote white privilege around that sort of nonsense is just you know um, as I say, I just cringe at the thought that people still have those views in the early 21st century, bordering the mid 21st century. I can't believe I'm going to say bordering the mid 21st century, but That's what's being done. But the thing about it is, I disagree with Tomi Lahren when it comes to the policy that Caitlyn Jenner wants to pursue. These are policies I don't think it's going to be good for the state of California, and I'm not. And yeah, Gavin Newsom stinks as far as the governor is concerned. He stinks, but so that also applies to Caitlyn Jenner. Caitlyn Jenner stinks as an electoral possibility to replace Gavin Newsom as governor. My God, the people of California, please, for God's sake, vote for any third party. Just don't reject both Caitlyn Jenner and Gavin Newsom. Please. Uh, those two don't need to be anywhere near the governor's mansion. Just saying. If you like what you heard, press like and comment. Comment anyway. If you disagree, we'll have a conversation. Um, Feel free to share the content on this channel. As a First Amendment absolutist, it's my duty to inform you to go create your own platforms because we're all the muckrakers of our time. And feel free also to subscribe and hit that notification bell. And let me just say this real quick note. I apologize for the grainy quality of the film of this commentary, and I also apologize for sound quality. As I said, I'm having issues I'm trying to resolve on my regular computer, so just bear with me, and hopefully in a few days everything will be back to normal, and hopefully better. Anyhow, um, until next time, I am American Social Democracy. Peace. Class struggle yesterday, class struggle today, class struggle tomorrow, and class struggle until we achieve full economic and social justice in our time.